Happy Wednesday, UnWoke Nation. I'd like to welcome you to episode 194 of the UnWoke Show, where free speech is welcome, all subjects are on the table, and your boys Rich and Tim bring you the latest and greatest for your entertainment, baby. I'm your host, Rich, along with my co-host here. How you doing, Tim?
Oh, great, Rich. UnWoke Nation, guys, glad to be speaking with you this evening. We're just going to go ahead and jump right in, but before we do, you guys can reach us directly at feedback@unwoketheshow.com. Again, that is feedback@unwoketheshow.com. Keep the feedback coming, guys. We're loving it. In fact, this story came out of the feedback that we received tonight. So, on tonight's docket, like I said, episode 194, Mangione is back in the news.
Again?
Oh, he's been in the news for a while. So, guys,
The Love Note murderer.
Yeah. So, if you remember back in December of 2024, UnitedHealthcare CEO Brian Thompson was walking toward an investor conference in Manhattan.
Yeah.
As we know, he never made it inside. A masked man approached him from behind, shot him multiple times on a public sidewalk. The killer fled New York, and 5 days later, police arrested Luigi Mangione at McDonald's in Altoona, Pennsylvania. For nearly 2 years, the country argued about what happened. Okay. Some called Mangione a murderer. Others called him a revolutionary. His face appeared on shirts, signs, social media accounts, and pieces of artwork. People showed up outside courthouses to support him. I think we did a story where there was a lady who wanted to marry an avatar.
Oh, I remember that episode. Right.
His likeness, that she thought that the two were meant to be together, right?
Yeah, lady, you probably need to see a shrink.
So now one major part of the argument is over. Luigi Mangione has admitted that he killed Brian Thompson.
Yep, surveillance cameras prove it too.
Yep, he pled guilty to 2 federal stalking charges resulting in death. In court, he acknowledged shooting Thompson and admitted that he knew what he was doing was illegal. But Mangione's guilty plea does not settle the most troubling question raised by this case. Why did so many people need him to be a hero?
That's like sick.
There are legitimate reasons for Americans to be furious with the healthcare system.
Absolutely. Well, I'll give you that much.
People have fought insurance companies while sick, watched treatments get delayed, struggled with prior authorizations, and received bills they never believed they could afford. Deny everything first, make you resubmit. There isn't a person that is tuned in that is listening to this right now that has not felt that frustration.
Oh, absolutely, man. I mean, I've felt the frustration, when I got sick one day and, had to go to the emergency and make sure, I needed all the stuff I needed to only find out I was actually just dehydrated, and also basically plugged me up with, you could say like the equivalent of 2 bottles of Gatorade, which I could have probably did that myself. But the point being is the bill that came back, and I'm like, whoa,
hell no.
Hell to the no. Why am I paying this? And, going through all the whole insurance, stuff. Well, you're going to pay this, that, and the other. And it's like, what exactly are you guys paying for?
Exactly.
So, yeah, it was, little shocking. So, anyway.
But when did anger at an institution become permission to execute one of the people associated with it?
That's where we start drawing the line.
Yeah. And when did murder become protest?
Yeah, and Tim, I think we talked about that. There was a show and some libtard made it was called like justified murder. It was some term.
Justified murder.
It was justified social murder or something like that. In other words, it sounds like it's something where somebody does something wrong, I guess, that's supposed to be so terrible against society that they deserve to be killed for. Which, obviously you and I constantly talk about these dumb terms they come up with to justify their insanity, but unbelievable. Yeah, I remember hearing that on some podcast once.
I think there was a movie with Samuel L. Jackson, Kevin Spacey, and Matthew McConaughey. I believe it was based off of a John Grisham book where a father killed the man that raped and murdered his young daughter.
Oh yeah, and I think wasn't McConaughey was a lawyer?
McConaughey was the lawyer.
Right.
It had Kiefer Sutherland in it as well too. But yeah, that he was. They called it pretty much murder, and that because it's. I think it took place in Louisiana, and it was actually a very entertaining movie. But
A Time to Kill, 1996.
Okay, so we're examining the facts behind Luigi Mangione's guilty plea, the public reaction that transformed an accused killer into a cultural symbol, and the line America must not cross, even when the anger underneath it is justified. Okay. So we're gonna discuss this case, and we're probably going to retreat into one of two political corners. On one side, pretends the healthcare system had nothing to do with the reaction.
Okay.
Not our fault. According to that argument, everyone who expressed sympathy for Mangione is simply deranged or violent. I would disagree with that.
Yeah, I agree.
That seems almost too easy. As I said, millions of us Americans, we've experienced the frustration of fighting for coverage.
Yeah.
While already dealing with illness, pain, or fear.
Right.
Okay. They've watched decisions about treatment become negotiations between doctors, insurance companies, employers, and billing departments. Now, let's be clear about one thing. This anger didn't start with Mangione.
No.
Okay. Really, he stepped into the anger that was already there. But the other side makes an even more dangerous mistake. It turns understandable anger into moral permission.
Yeah.
Okay. Now let's remember, Brian Thompson did not receive a trial. No evidence was presented to a jury showing that he had personally harmed Mangione. No court found him guilty of a crime. He was shot from behind while walking to work.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to throw one caveat into this. It was widely reported that UnitedHealthcare was being investigated, I believe.
Yes, I remember we reported a story, yes.
Was it the Federal Trade Commission? Over reports of embezzlement, mismanagement. I've heard rumors that they think the death of Mr. Thompson was a setup. But needless to say, UnitedHealthcare itself is not 100% the victim in this. There are plenty of outside factors, and I believe it was even one of the California fire departments was suing UnitedHealthcare because the day I think they were making an announcement about something, their pension fund had lost some 4 or 5% market value.
Yeah, so it shows right here in July 2025, the UnitedHealthcare revealed it's facing a Department of Justice investigation.
DOJ.
Yeah, so over its insurance arm's medical billing practices.
Yep.
And so according to what Tim and I have found, let me see. The company disclosed that it has started complying with the former criminal and civil requests of the DOJ. Yeah. So we will go through a little bit more of this information for you.
Does Patsy sound? So what Mangione did, that's not accountability, that's assassination.
Yes.
Okay. If we as a society accept the idea that institutional grievance can justify killing an executive, where does the principle stop?
Yeah.
Can someone kill the president of a pharmaceutical company because medication prices are too high? Can someone kill the CEO of an oil company because of climate change?
Right.
Can someone kill a media executive because they believe the news is destroying the country? Can someone kill a technology executive because social media harm their child?
Yeah. I understand that.
Right? I think we all agree that every political movement believes its grievances are uniquely urgent. There's this, I can't stress it enough. Everything in society today is expensive. The cost of healthcare, insane. Right now, the cost of fuel, insane.
Right.
The cost of groceries, insane. The cost of beef.
You don't like paying $8.50 for your bacon in New York?
Yeah. Right. But all those examples, you don't see farmers being taken out.
No.
You don't see grocery stores being taken out.
Yep.
And yet, Mangione felt the need to take out a healthcare CEO.
I mean, man, there's a lot of, obviously everything that you said, Tim, is exactly right. There's a lot of things that people don't like or so that are, paying too much. And obviously some people say it's like it's, people just doing crony capitalism, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
And also, but no, I mean, that doesn't give the right to sit there and say like, okay, yeah, this guy might have been shady. Let's just say he was, okay. He might have been shady, but that doesn't mean where you have the right to be able to end his life. And the thing is that when you start getting all these other type of vigilante type people deciding to do something like that, and also that's a huge problem.
It's one thing for Hollywood to sensationalize. Well, no, sensationalize isn't the right word. It's one thing for Hollywood, say Marvel. There's a series out there called The Punisher.
Right.
Okay. Being able to take that show for what it is, it's like, oh man, this is a great show. Is Mangione and Frank Castle remotely the same in what has happened to them and everything? No. Mangione complained for years that he had back problems and insurance.
Right.
Frank Castle, being a fictional character, suffered massive PTSD, family loss, all sorts of stuff, right?
Right.
But nonetheless, both of those individuals, their actions are the exact same. The Punisher puts down criminals. I wouldn't be surprised in the mind of Mangione that he thought that Thompson and UnitedHealthcare were criminals, and he felt it important to put them down.
Right.
Okay. I think we all agree that every extremist, in this case Mangione, believes ordinary solutions have failed.
Yes. Complaints, writing in emails, complaining to a lawyer, or whatever case, Yeah.
Every assassin believes the target represents something larger. Charlie Kirk.
Yeah.
The people behind that murdered Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk himself was seen as a right-wing extremist.
Yeah, a lot of people thought Turning Point USA was that way.
Yeah. This isn't a show to talk about Turning Point USA.
No.
But you get the parallels between the death of Thompson at the hands of Mangione to make a point about healthcare system as the way that Charlie Kirk was taken out by someone who viewed Charlie Kirk as a right-wing extremist.
Right.
Okay. No. This is why civilized society cannot permit private citizens to appoint themselves judge, jury, and executioner.
In this case, yep.
Let's think about that statement, or talk about that statement for a minute. It was either last week or the week before, Rich, you and I were talking about history and how history repeats itself.
Right.
I'm trying to think of a time when a certain time period has been repeated. And that would be the Wild Wild West.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
During, that period in time, disputes, arguments
Mm-hmm.
were settled with dueling pistols.
True.
The court system, the legal system, justice, you could say in some capacity was in its infancy.
Mm-hmm. I mean, called the Wild Wild West for that reason.
Yeah. But a lot of issues did get settled.
Mm-hmm.
Do I think we're in the midst of the Wild Wild West now? No.
No, I would disagree.
But when you're talking about judge, jury, and executioner, you can see the two parallels there.
Mm-hmm.
The healthcare system wronged me. UnitedHealthcare wronged me.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, we don't know if Mangione followed the proper processes or tried to wade through the insulation of, getting to the right people in order to help satisfy whatever his alleged healthcare issues were.
Right.
Right. Corporations, their very nature is to design firewalls and insulations to prevent ordinary people who consume those services from really making any inroads in trying to change anything.
Well, the thing, I don't know if you noticed it, Tim, but I've noticed more and more people who are in the medical industry, and a lot of them are doctors, Tim.
Right.
That are basically saying, it's not health care, it's like sick care. And they realize that they will make more profit by just feeding somebody a pill,
Mm-hmm.
or just giving them a little bit of something for 6 months and everything. That'll take care of all of it. But in the end, it doesn't actually solve the problem. Why?
Right.
There's no money in solving the problem.
That is true. So we all agree that the healthcare system deserves to be investigated.
Mm-hmm.
Insurance practices deserve scrutiny. Corporate executives deserved to be questioned.
Yes.
In Mangione's case, he felt they deserved bullets.
Gosh.
So the reason we're talking about this again
Mm-hmm.
is Mangione is looking at not only federal charges,
Mm-hmm.
but state charges.
Yeah.
In the case of the state, those are murder charges.
Right.
So Mangione's guilty plea may also affect New York's prosecution of him. Mangione's attorneys are arguing that New York's broader double jeopardy protections prevent the state from prosecuting him for the same underlying conduct after his federal conviction. Manhattan prosecutors contend that the federal stalking offenses and the state murder charge contain different legal elements. So let's talk about that for a second.
Okay.
So first off, double jeopardy
Mm-hmm.
means that you cannot be tried for the same crime
Mm-hmm.
twice.
Right, regardless if it's murder or anything like that.
Yeah. So Mangione has been charged with federal stalking.
Right.
Okay. Nothing about the federal case says murder.
That's what's just like.
Okay. The state is where the murder charges would be enacted. But he pled guilty to saying, yes, I killed Mr. Thompson. Yes, I knew what I was doing. Mm-hmm. So the question to you is, and we're not legal scholars.
No, of course not.
Right. But I feel that we're qualified enough to say federal always trumps state.
Yeah. Some people have a hard time understanding, but that's a different story.
Right. Does the state of New York actually have a point here?
You mean the fact that they're willing to put murder charges on him, but it doesn't make sense where that the federal's not doing so.
So under the federal case, again, it is federal stalking. The language being used doesn't say anything about murder.
Right.
But under the federal case, Mangione has admitted that he killed Thompson and he knew what he was doing.
Right.
Now, the state of New York is saying, hey, wait a minute. He's guilty on the stalking charge, yes.
Mm-hmm.
We deserve our day in court on the murder side.
So what is this about? Justice or just putting my name on the paper? What are we talking about here?
From the Mangione's perspective, we're talking about, or he's betting on the fact that he has pled guilty in the federal
mm-hmm. case,
mm-hmm. which he'll most likely get life in prison or something like that, right? Mm-hmm. At the state level, because he's already admitted guilt at the federal level, he shouldn't be tried at the state level for murder. And the state is saying, hey, we're talking murder here. The feds were talking about stalking.
Yeah, of course.
Two different actions, if you will.
I get it.
So from your perspective, and again, we're not legal scholars.
Nope.
Does the state of New York have a case here?
I tried to watch Law and Order, Timmy, and
which one?
Yeah.
Which series?
Yeah. So, okay. Well, here's the thing. We talked about this pre-show. Unfortunately, when it comes to the law of the state of New York, they have a tendency to, shall we say, look over stuff that's considered blatantly obvious and can be very pro-criminal at times. So my hope is that they will do the right thing, whatever potential charges they might come up based on their statutes, and just do the right thing. Mm-hmm. But it's just, again, I think the biggest thing, Tim, is that we're just so blown away where that both state and federal have not come to the same darn conclusion. We admitted a murder. Okay, so federal attorney, isn't that something else you want to write down saying, okay, we still want to give a charge of that? I mean, how does that go?
Yeah.
Now, the only thing about it that makes us, like we said, we have seen situations in the state of New York where there have been heinous crimes and like that, and they have a tendency to just let people walk off. Now, based on, you would think, the way New York has been ran,
Right.
And as you said before, federal is higher than state. You think you would want to kind of cross your T's and dot your I's and say, you know what, we really don't trust you guys, so maybe we'll make sure we'll just get a murder charge on this. What do you think, Tim?
So if we just look at it as, because we're two amateur legal analysts.
Right, exactly.
If we just look at the language, federal stalking, that's one situation. State murder, that's a separate situation.
Yes, I understand.
In my opinion, I think that's how you evaluate it. Now, New York, being New York,
right,
does have broader double jeopardy protections, that prevent the state from prosecuting Mangione for the same underlying conduct after his federal conviction. Now, I would argue underlying conduct.
Right.
You can stalk someone and not kill them.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay.
You can.
You can murder someone and not stalk them.
Yeah, it's true too.
So, just in my own common sense thinking, I would think we're talking about two separate scenarios that involve one person. Legal analysts disagree about which side will prevail. Now, keep in mind, the state judge will have to decide whether the murder prosecution can proceed. That's interesting in and of itself.
Right.
So where does this all leave us? First off, Luigi Mangione has now admitted to what he did.
Yes.
He planned the attack. He traveled to New York. He watched his target. He waited for Brian Thompson to arrive. Then he approached him from behind and killed him.
Yeah.
There isn't a slogan that doesn't change those facts.
Yeah. And like you said, he admitted it. So
no amount of frustration with UnitedHealthcare changes those facts. And no failure inside the American healthcare system transforms murder into a public service. Okay. That's not something you can turn in on an insurance form.
Right.
I think we all can acknowledge that insurance companies sometimes mistreat patients.
Yeah.
Okay. We can demand greater transparency. We can challenge claim denials. We can question executive compensation. Reform prior authorization. And hold corporations accountable. But accountability under the law and revenge through violence are not the same thing.
No, it's not.
The moment we confuse them, we stop debating how to improve society and begin deciding which people deserve to die.
Yeah.
I think we all agree that Brian Thompson was not a logo. He was not an insurance claim. He was not a symbol walking down a Manhattan sidewalk. He was a person. Luigi Mangione made the decision to kill him. A portion of the country then made the decision to turn that killing into a statement. The guilty plea answers the legal question of whether Mangione accepts responsibility for what he did. It does not answer the larger question facing the rest of us. When Americans lose faith in their institutions, will we reform those institutions or start celebrating the people who kill in their name?
Hoping more is former than the latter, man.
UnWoke Nation, we're going to leave it right there for you. We'd love to get your feedback on this story. You can reach us at feedback@unwoketheshow.com. Again, that is feedback@unwoketheshow.com. Rich, a pleasure as always. And remember, guys, stay unwoke.
See you next time.